heads of offices from across the world, and I mean the whole world, are talking about the same things. Everybody's talking about sort of quantum computing. They're talking about the challenges in life sciences and the advances in life sciences. They're talking about their own digital transformations within the operations of their own office. And then I sort of deliberately left it to last because it's the all-encompassing point is AI, artificial intelligence, and that, I think it will surprise nobody watching this or listening to this that that's a huge topic. I think really importantly from both an operational perspective as an office, how we can harness AI to make services more efficient, better, easier for both our applicants and ourselves, but also the legal questions we all know of the landmark Dabus case, which asks whether an inventor can be an AI itself. And in some ways that is a relatively simple question in the sense that you could change the law to do that if you wanted to. And then there's the further questions, particularly on sort of how AI interacts with the IP system in terms of a generative basis. And actually, again, people may know that we've launched a consultation in the UK on AI and copyright and how the interaction between copyrighted material and how it's used to train AI. And in fact, that at time of recording today, that closes in the UK, and it's attracted a huge amount of interest for totally understandable reasons from both those wanting to be able to use copyrighted material, but of course the creators and others that are very worried about that. And trying to find that balance is incredibly challenging, but it's incredibly important to make sure that government takes the right decisions and doesn't stymie growth and development of AI. We've had a green channel, as we call it, since about 2009. And actually, we're seeing a much greater uptake in these people using the green channel now. So we were quite forward-leaning in that. And that basically enabled people with green technology to get an accelerated patent search and examination if they needed it. They didn't have to. And there's no kind of judgment made on whether that green technology will be sort of the next big thing or not. The IP system actually does a pretty good job. So many of green technologies that are now out there have come through the IP system. Did they need a special channel? Did they need a special treatment? Not really. They used the patent or the trademark system to get them where they needed to be. So is there a grand intervention for the IP system to move green technology forward? I don't know, and I'd be grateful if your listeners or viewers have ideas, because I think it's genuinely a challenge for IP offices. Many of the conferences end up really just saying, well, they use the IP system. Yes, you can make the tweaks like I suggested with sort of accelerated examination. Yes, you may, if your government wishes to, give some grants, for instance, to enable SMEs to get their IP easier. But are they real game changers? I don't know. But I think, and then coming back to one of the earlier examples I gave in the previous question about life sciences and vaccines, it's making sure that the IP system encourages innovation, because you wouldn't get the innovation in the first place if it's not financially sustainable, but equally doesn't lock it down forever so that people can build on it. And for me, that's always been the key question about IP. So I don't want to sound like a naysayer or a Luddite, because I'm not. I'm really keen we do something. But equally, I'm not sure the question is any different from it has been for many years about the IP system and how it incentivizes and builds. So for me, that's the crux of the question. But just to be really clear, that's my personal view on these things. And we absolutely need to keep working towards to see how we can incentivize green technology for the obvious reasons that I don't need to spell out here. It's really important that we work together, is what I would like to say. They will make their sovereign decisions. We need to be able to discuss them and work with them to understand those, and put either UK, Europe, or wider international points of view depending on the subject matter. we have a really good relationship with the US office. We have an IP attaché in Washington DC that facilitates those conversations, that provides knowledge and information on what's happening in the US, and I think that's a really helpful. It's a collaborative. It's not it's a diplomatic sort of a mission that they're on, and I think that's really important because the US is a huge player in the IP sphere. There's no denying that, and we need to be able to work with them. And actually, on many issues, we see eye to eye with them in the IP space, and they've been very good collaborators and friends. From a UK perspective, IP has always been very international. It's always been very European. There are many treaties and laws that link and still link us together, in fact. So some of that was that sort of legislative untangling, let's call it that, making sure we were very clear that the IP system needed to continue to work. But one of the biggest challenges was the trademark system, where we were obviously part of the EU IPO in Alicante, and then making sure that those rights, both existing and then future rights, and any court cases and any tribunals and all those many things could be managed. But I think we did that in a really well. Certainly, so I was responsible both for the IT project to bring over 1 million trademarks onto the UK register from the EU register, but also managing the sort of the legislative unbundling as well. Some firms looked at whether their partnerships with other offices in other countries. Obviously, Ireland is an English-speaking nation, was an obvious one, but in other areas where they've got joint work, so that they could continue their European work, and also managing with their clients. So where clients had perhaps filed EU IPO trademarks, perhaps didn't particularly need a UK trademark, but got one automatically, how they manage those strategies. And certainly we know that prior to Brexit, some firms were sort of almost offering a buy one, get one free policy, where you would apply for a UK mark and an EU IPO mark at the same time, just to make sure that you had the coverage. And then as time has now gone on, the portfolio is being reevaluated, and then the necessary marks are being continued, and those that aren't necessary are being not renewed. And I think in other offices, I'm hoping in other offices people haven't seen a huge change. I think we've worked really well. Like I said, we're very much still a very important member of the EPO from the patent side, but equally on the trademark side, I think our attorney professions and others are still represented on those attorney bodies in the EU IPO, because of course they're filing marks on behalf of British companies. And so the strategies, I would say, have been adapted, but perhaps not wholeheartedly changed. So I think we have a very similar approach. I think it's really important. We all agree on the importance of IP. You have some very large industries, as do we. And we talked earlier about our R&D being very similar. So actually, I think I would say that, as a collaboration partner, then Sweden is incredibly important to us from an IP perspective, and on a personal perspective, I very much enjoy working with the PRV in those forums. And I think from a broader UK economic perspective, we're really strong on the importance of IP in the UK. We see any number of reasons why we need a good IP system. And so really, I guess my sort of advertisement or my pitch to Swedish businesses or investors is, we're a good place to do your business. I'm sure you know that already. But also the Intellectual Property Office itself has a huge wealth of information and assistance on our website or via direct contact, that if you're wondering about patenting or trademarking directly with the UK, then please visit the information, because there's a whole load of information there that will help you make your decision. Thanks so much. Well, thank you. I really enjoyed that.